Some things that you learn in the military transfer right over to the civilian world. Other things require a little bit of tweaking. And some things you just got to throw out. In this video, I'm going to share 5 things that you should bring with you to the civilian world. Hey, I'm Dr. McCleary, and I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and someone who actually personally went through this transition from military to civilian back in 2009. And I won't go too much into what I used to do while I was in the military, but what I will say is that I was not a psychologist at the time. Despite your job in the military, at one time or another, someone told you to do something that you really didn't want to do, but you did it anyway. The first thing that I want you to bring with you is your self-discipline. In the civilian world, just like in the military, people are going to be asking you to do some things that you really don't want to do. Having the self-discipline to complete these tasks when appropriate, or complete tasks where people aren't continuing to check on you and check on you. To be self-disciplined enough to make sure that you get that mission done. That's going to be important for you to take with you to the civilian world. Believe it or not, being disciplined enough to be given a task one time and then be trusted to complete that task is a highly sought after skill in the civilian world. Now, you might run into some frustrations on when this actually doesn't happen. You tell somebody to do something, then that doesn't happen, and then there's no repercussions. Okay, I hear you. But being disciplined enough for yourself to get things done is going to be highly sought after, both in the workplace and at home. The next thing that I want you to bring with you to the civilian world is routines. And I can hear some of my veteran buddies saying, hey, I'm done with routines. I'm done with somebody telling me when and where to do things. Okay, I hear you. The great thing about the civilian world is many times you get to make your own routine. This is also where some people struggle with the transition of getting out of the military, because they're used to having a set routine that was essentially made for them. When I say bring your routine to the civilian world, really what I'm talking about is structure. Having structure for yourself, having a calendar, being able to construct a routine for yourself is going to help with that transition. Because in the civilian world, you might find yourself with no structure, no routine, and being very confused about where to even start. Where you can start is bringing some of that structure, bringing some of that routine with you. The third thing that I want you to bring with you to the civilian world may or may not surprise you, and that's PT. Working out on a consistent basis is going to help with your mood, your brain, your overall well-being. And that's actually a big part of why the military has you PT so much. It's no secret that being in physical shape is required for some of the jobs in the military. However, what working out also does is it helps deal with stress. It helps increase that blood flow to your brain so you're thinking better. It helps with so many things. And one of the things that a lot of veterans do that I don't want you to do is totally stop working out once they get out of the military. Exercising is arguably one of the best things that you can do for your mind, one of the best things that you can do for your body. Take that with you. Stay tuned to the end of this video, and I'm going to give you a bonus tip to use when transitioning out of the military. Some people learn this next skill in the military, and some people missed it. So the fourth thing that I want you to bring with you is eating on a regular basis and eating healthy food. Now, I recognize that everybody doesn't eat healthy in the military, but what the military generally does a decent job of is ensuring that you actually do eat. For some people, that means 3 meals a day, and they call you to eat. Okay, this is the designated time to eat. Here's the bell, it's ringing. Oh, that means time for lunch. Eating on a consistent basis and eating healthy foods, if you can, is going to be an important skill whether you learned it in the military or not. The last thing that I want you to take with you from the military to the civilian world is sleeping on a regular basis. And I can hear you guys already saying, hey, the military is actually what messed up my sleep. I hear you. Well, what the military also teaches us is to go to bed at a consistent time and to wake up at a consistent time. And this is something that you can take with you to the civilian world. Monitoring your sleep, going to bed when they say taps, taps, lights out. Waking up when they say reveille, reveille. The great thing about reveille and taps in the civilian world is that you get to actually make up those times for yourself. Just make sure they're consistent. Now, I told you earlier in this video that if you stayed to the end, I'd give you another tip for transitioning from the military to the civilian world. And here we go. The last thing that I want you to take with you from the military to the civilian world is flexibility. And I recognize that for a lot of people in the military, structure and routine are the lay of the land. However, what people also learn in the military is a ton of flexibility. When things don't go the way they were trained, when things don't go the way it happened when you were training to do that, you don't quit. You adapt. You find a way to get the mission done. And this type of flexibility is going to be extremely important in the civilian world, because in the civilian world, there are endless ways to accomplish the same mission. Being flexible enough to see those alternate ways of accomplishing the mission is going to make that transition from military to civilian life a lot smoother. If this video was helpful for you, please share it with someone else. Please share it with a veteran that is struggling transitioning to civilian life. Please share it with someone who is still in uniform but is about to make that transition. Transitioning from military life to civilian life is often a difficult road to travel. However, it's not a road that many veterans have not successfully traveled. Something to think about.